The Melody of Silence, written by Ethan Blackwood and narrated by Sebastian Wolf. Eliza stood in front of the small antique shop, her gaze fixated on the exquisite violin displayed in the dusty window. The dark wood, the intricate carvings, and the aged strings drew her in, calling out to her like a siren's song. As a talented musician with an insatiable curiosity, she couldn't resist the urge to step inside and explore the treasure trove that lay beyond the creaky wooden door. The dimly lit shop was a labyrinth of trinkets and relics, each with its own story waiting to be unearthed. Eliza navigated the narrow aisles, her fingers brushing against the cool metal of an ancient pocket watch, the rough edges of a tattered book, and the smooth surface of a porcelain figurine. Yet her mind remained focused on the violin, beckoning her like a long-lost friend. As she approached the glass display case, the shopkeeper emerged from the shadows, an elderly man with a hunched back and a wispy white beard. "Ah, I see you've taken a liking to the violin," he said, his voice raspy and low. "It's a special instrument, that one. It holds a power unlike any other." Eliza's interest piqued. She asked, "What kind of power?" The old man leaned in closer, his eyes twinkling with a mischievous glint. "It has the power to control time itself," he whispered. "The melodies it produces can transport the player to different times and places, unlocking secrets long since forgotten." Skeptical, yet intrigued, Eliza inquired about the violin's origin. The shopkeeper's face darkened as he explained that it once belonged to a gifted violinist named Isabel, a woman who had sought the answers to life's mysteries but vanished without a trace, leaving only the violin behind. Feeling a strange connection to the instrument and its story, Eliza decided to purchase the violin and uncover its secrets. As she left the shop, the old man's words echoed in her mind. "Be cautious, my dear. The power of the violin can be both a blessing and a curse." That night, Eliza sat alone in her small apartment, the violin cradled in her hands. With a deep breath, she drew the bow across the strings, and the haunting melody that filled the room seemed to defy time itself. As the notes danced around her, Eliza suddenly found herself enveloped by a swirling vortex of colors and sensations. When the whirlwind subsided, Eliza found herself standing in a lavish Victorian ballroom, the air thick with the scent of roses and candle wax. She gazed around in awe, her heart racing as she realized the violin's power had transported her back in time, a time when Isabel, the violin's former owner, was still alive. Eliza knew she needed to find Isabel and learn the truth about the violin's mysterious power. She moved through the ballroom, her footsteps muffled by the soft plush carpet. The chatter and laughter of the partygoers filled her ears as she searched for any sign of the enigmatic violinist. As she approached the grand staircase, Eliza heard the faint, melancholy notes of a violin. She followed the sound, her heart pounding with anticipation. At the top of the stairs, she found a door slightly ajar, the music spilling from within. Eliza hesitated, her hand on the door handle, and then she pushed it open, revealing a dimly lit chamber. Sitting in the center of the room was Isabel, her eyes closed as she played the violin with a passion and intensity that was almost supernatural. Eliza approached her cautiously, her voice barely above a whisper. "Isabel, I've come to learn the truth about the violin. I need your help." Isabel's playing slowed to a halt, her eyes snapping open as she looked up at Eliza. She studied her for a moment, and then a sad smile spread across her face. "You're here because of the violin's power. I can see it in your eyes. You're not the first to seek its secrets, nor will you be the last." As the two women talked, Isabel revealed the true nature of the violin's power. It was a gift and a curse, capable of bringing both great happiness and unimaginable sorrow. The instrument had shown her the beauty of the past, but also the darkness that lay ahead. Isabel explained that the violin was infused with a mysterious force that could not only transport its player through time, but also influence the course of events in the world. She warned Eliza of the dangers and temptations that came with wielding such power, urging her to be cautious and responsible. As they spoke, a sense of urgency grew within Eliza. She knew that she had to return to her own time and use the violin's power for good. With Isabel's guidance, she learned to harness the instrument's energy, focusing her thoughts on the present and the people she cared about. The time for departure came, and Eliza prepared to say goodbye to Isabel. A bond had formed between the two women, and their parting was bittersweet. As they embraced, Isabel whispered one final piece of advice. "Remember, Eliza, the power of the violin is great, but it is your heart and your intentions that truly determine the outcome." With a deep breath, Eliza began to play the violin once more, the notes swirling around her as she felt the familiar pull of time. She closed her eyes, her thoughts filled with determination and hope. When she opened her eyes again, Eliza was back in her own time, the violin cradled in her arms. She knew that the journey she had taken was just the beginning, and that she now carried a great responsibility. Eliza resolved to use the violin's power to help those in need, to bring hope and healing to the world around her. She began to play at hospitals and nursing homes, the music transporting the listeners to happier times and lifting their spirits. As word of her extraordinary gift spread, Eliza became known as the time-traveling violinist, her performances drawing crowds of people seeking solace and inspiration. In time, Eliza came to understand the true extent of the violin's power. Its music could do more than transport people through time. It could also change the course of their lives. She realized that she had been entrusted with an immense gift, and with it, an even greater responsibility. One day, Eliza received a letter from a woman named Clara, whose daughter was gravely ill. The doctors had given up hope, but Clara believed that Eliza's music might have the power to save her child. Moved by the desperate plea, Eliza agreed to visit the girl. When she arrived, the girl lay weak and pale, her life slipping away. Eliza took the violin in her hands, her heart filled with compassion and determination. She closed her eyes and began to play, the music weaving a tapestry of hope and healing around the child. As the last note faded, the girl's eyes fluttered open, and color returned to her cheeks. Miraculously, she was healed. Clara, overwhelmed with gratitude, embraced Eliza, tears streaming down her face. News of the miraculous healing spread like wildfire, and soon Eliza was inundated with requests for help. She did her best to answer every call, her heart guiding her as she used the violin's power to bring hope and healing to those in need. But with each passing day, the demands on her grew heavier, and the weight of her responsibility began to take its toll. Eliza started to feel the strain of her extraordinary gift, and she worried that she might lose herself to the power she wielded. One fateful evening, a desperate man approached Eliza with a request she could not ignore. He begged her to save his dying wife, who was in the throes of childbirth. Eliza, knowing the risks involved, hesitated, but the man's desperation moved her, and she agreed to help. In the dimly lit room, the air was thick with fear and desperation. The woman's cries echoed through the small space as Eliza took up her violin and began to play. The music wove around the room, filling it with a sense of hope, but Eliza could feel the energy within her depleting rapidly. As the final notes of her song echoed through the room, the woman's cries subsided, and a healthy baby's wail filled the air. The man, overjoyed, embraced his wife and child, tears of gratitude in his eyes. Eliza, exhausted and drained, managed a weak smile before collapsing to the floor. Days passed, and Eliza struggled to recover from the toll the violin had taken on her. She knew that she could not continue to use its power without paying a heavy price. With a heavy heart, Eliza decided that she must give up the violin and find a way to live a more ordinary life. She locked the violin away in a hidden room, vowing never to play it again, and for a time she managed to keep her promise, settling into a quiet existence. But the violin's song haunted her dreams, a constant reminder of the power she had left behind. As the years passed, Eliza found herself drawn back to the violin, unable to resist its call. And as she played once more, she understood that her gift could not be denied. With renewed determination, Eliza vowed to wield the violin's power responsibly, finding balance between her own well-being and the needs of those around her. Eliza began to use the violin's power sparingly, offering help only to those who truly needed it and had no other recourse. She became a beacon of hope for many who believed in her miraculous abilities. But with her gift came the attention of those who sought to exploit her power for their own selfish gains. Despite the danger, Eliza continued to walk the tightrope between using her gift and protecting herself. She became adept at identifying the true intentions of those who sought her help, ensuring she used her power wisely and selectively. As the years went on, stories of Eliza's gift spread far and wide, and she became a legend, her name whispered in awe and reverence. But as her power grew, so did her understanding of the burden she carried. She knew that she could not continue to walk this path indefinitely. And so, with a heavy heart, Eliza decided to pass on her gift to another. She searched for someone with a pure heart, who could wield the violin's power responsibly and for the greater good. After a long and arduous journey, she found a young woman named Amelia, who possessed the strength and compassion Eliza sought. Eliza taught Amelia the secrets of the violin, passing on her knowledge and wisdom. As Amelia learned to harness the power of the instrument, Eliza felt a great weight lifted from her shoulders. She knew that her legacy would live on in Amelia, and that the world would continue to be touched by the violin's song. With her task complete, Eliza retired to a quiet life, content in the knowledge that she had made a difference in the lives of many. And as she listened to Amelia play the violin, its haunting melody echoing through the night, she knew that her gift would live on, a testament to the power of music and the strength of the human spirit.